Hey everyone, it's Pastor Phil Janish and welcome to our Sunday preparation meditation for this week. You know, often when we read the Bible, we're struck by God's miraculous power. We're amazed by things like God working through Moses to part the Red Sea, or we're amazed by Jesus raising the dead and healing the sick, or we're amazed at the Holy Spirit coming upon the apostles at Pentecost and giving them the ability to speak in many languages and appearing as tongues of fire over their heads. We're amazed by these miraculous displays of God's power and glory. And then we look at our own lives, and they seem so ordinary, right? I don't know about you, but I've never been able to work a miracle or seen something as amazing as some of the things we read about in the Bible. And so maybe that causes us to wonder, is God working in our lives? Well, just because we don't work or see miracles, that does not mean that God isn't working in our lives. In fact, normally, God works through ordinary people in ordinary ways. In fact, God usually does extraordinary things by working through ordinary people in ordinary ways. This Sunday, we're going to start a sermon series on the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth is a short story in the Old Testament. It's a true story, and it's 4 chapters long. We have 4 Sundays left in the church year, so we're going to take 1 chapter of the book of Ruth each Sunday. And in the book of Ruth, we aren't going to see any miracles or God coming down and speaking with a mighty trumpet-like voice. No, we're going to see ordinary people in their ordinary lives. Yet, the book of Ruth shows us that God works extraordinary things through ordinary people in ordinary ways. This Sunday, through the character of Ruth, we are going to see God's faithful, steadfast love on display. In chapter 1, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, has just gone through the tragedy of tragedies. Her husband has died, and so have her 2 children. And because Naomi is dealing with so much grief and tragedy, she thinks God has abandoned her. In fact, she even thinks that God's hand is against her. But we are going to see tomorrow that God had not abandoned her. God showed Naomi his faithful love, his faithful, steadfast love, even in the midst of tragedy. And he did that by giving Naomi Ruth. We're going to see that Ruth is an example of God's faithful, steadfast love on display. And Ruth exemplifies the faithful, steadfast love to Naomi. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and I really would encourage you to come to church or watch us online as we enjoy this beautiful little story of the book of Ruth, where we get to see God working amazing things through ordinary people in ordinary ways. I hope to see you there. Bye-bye.